I swear there is a gremlin alive in my PC currently.
Yeah.
It's not.
GAI ground zero is right there.
Oh my god! Yeah, today was horrible.
Send prompts, not nudes. I just want to AI some shit.
Drinks and thinks. What you got?
Thinks and drinks.
No clinks.
Another
clinks?
episode. I gotta pour.
Oh, okay. I'll wait for your pour.
Today, I have with me from the Sonoma Distilling Company out in California a black truffle rye. It's a rye that's infused with French black truffles, and you can taste it. It's quite good, and it's very, very unique. I think John. I think you.
Yeah.
I think I brought this out before, and
yeah, I think I'm salivating because of it.
It's like a very. I'm not gonna call it like a dessert type of rye, but I drink it with a steak. It feels classy.
dark red meat.
Yeah. Yep.
Nice. Randy, what you got, sir? Scotch.
Got my Scotch Oban 14, my go-to.
Very nice. I am War Whiskey, a Columbus local, but it's the double.
Double.
Nice.
War
Yeah,
whiskey.
it is like oaky, dark oaky chocolate.
Double. Does that mean they aged it 4 barrels?
They
or
doubled it and then doubled that. So I'm thinking 3. Would that be correct?
double? Oh, okay, yeah, double barreled.
Double barreled the first one, then you doubled that.
Yeah,
I don't know. Is double a mathematical equation that can be solved? We should ask AI.
yeah, that's actually
Let's
a
ask
good
AI.
AI question.
Hey guys, what
How
if we
many
used
times?
AI on the podcast?
Yeah. You guys are actually thinking of things to say without AI?
What is the math? Or
Touche, Randy.
double.
Dad joke GPT going here on the side.
Oh my god, that's funny. Yeah, it's pretty good. I approve. And supposedly, I don't know. At some point, are any of these awards really real? San Francisco World Spirits Competition, double gold, 2022.
That's the biggest. Spirit competition. They recruit a lot of I don't know, high profile tasters, if you will, connoisseurs of bourbon and
What
different.
did you get back on your AI query for double?
Well, I am. How many times has double bourbon been barreled? And I'm asking Perplexity, so it's actually going to search the internet, and then I'm going to copy this and paste it over to ChatGPT.
You know what's interesting though? You no longer have to ask ChatGPT to search the internet. It's naturally in ChatGPT. Yeah, it's part of the tools, and even in the API, it can do that now. So it's helpful.
Is it doing that beyond the search preview API, John?
Yes, there's 2 different versions. Actually, there's like 3, but you have the 2 previews, the mini and the regular, and then you have the organic internet search tool that ChatGPT can use, which is really was like revealed around the same time as 4.1 and silently not talked about for some unknown reason. But if you look at the update and you you pay attention to the giant deluge of information that they dumped on everyone, there is a whole section on, hey, you don't even have to click the button anymore. I think they just leave it there so that people feel better. But the reality is, and I've caught it a couple times going out and touching the internet, 04 is doing it too, the mini and mini high. But going back to like awesome models, anybody see the new 5.4 reasoning and the 5.4 reasoning mini?
Saw they came out. You play with them this week?
I haven't played with them.
We have one cooking right now on one of our endpoints on our fine-tuned data. Yeah,
Nice.
Running on all of our handy-dandy little thought structures, but that we just perfected with our other model that we were playing with. But yeah, there's one cooking in Azure right now.
That, I think, answers the compliance question that we were having the other day.
Ding.
So, for our faithful listeners,
I'd appreciate that, Randy.
sometimes it pays not to do something right away because AI does it for you. So, what was this yesterday? We talked about a model that was based on DeepSeek that very legitimate concern. Started as DeepSeek, moved around, did a bunch of things. The point being is not from a technical perspective, but from a compliance and risk perspective. A lot of enterprises want to know, where the model came from, what data it was trained on, and in particular, there's a lot of hesitancy on using models that had anything to do with China. So, we play with all the models, so we've definitely spent some time with that. We have a model that we believe we've distilled anything state out of and is now really our own based on the comprehensive task that was done. But the question that came up is, well, let's red team it. Let's hit it with a couple thousand prompts that should return in one way, but if it had been tampered with, might return in a different way. And there's different data sets out there to do this. Still going to do that, even on the US based ones. But if we're able to get the same results on one that just never touched China or any other countries of interest, it might just make some of the business conversations easier.
So. Absolutely. Yeah. And the nice thing about it is, we're not even the cover band of a cover band of a cover band of a cover band. It's like how many models deep I showed you guys the other day. Like we really, it is, it is, the relationship and genealogy is, they could marry each other.
The crazy thing about it, there's so much of distance from what the business world and the news thinks about AI versus what's actually happening versus what's actually possible. There's a lot of different stories going on.
Yeah, and then from the the technical perspective, if you're deploying a model within your infrastructure and you're not reaching out on the internet, like who cares where the model's from? Like there's no data's going out to China.
So
if you're running your DeepSeek locally.
It has been at least theoretically proven that some models can be, you can train them with backdoors, like if they're doing code writing, right? Like if you have a model in your structure that's offline writing code, that there's some trigger that maybe some foreign agent would know that gets it to do a thing, write code, and help you with a hack. I don't think
if they found your machine, if they found your exact endpoint and knew exactly who you were or something.
It's one of those things. If you look at like the MITRE, list of risks, it's on there for comprehensiveness, and it's been shown. I think Anthropic did some research on it, and a bunch of different security researchers have shown that it's possible. As with security, it's always probable, probability of it actually happening versus impact of it happening.
Yeah, from that perspective, you're probably talking about something like that's nation state level, and it's sort of like a time value thing, right? Mm-hmm. So unless you're a target, unless you're a big target, that somebody with that type of capability would be interested in going after like that, then probably for most people, it's not a huge concern. But
what were we talking about last night, James?
I can't remember. We were up so late last night.
Oh man.
We talked about a lot of things.
my little worm.
Oh, yeah. And the bit bomb.
Yeah. Well, you go first because the bit bomb is hilarious. And just too funny.
Yeah. My dad sent me this article about a bit bomb, and it's essentially it's a file that has gone through layers and layers of compression, so that when you end with your zip file, it's like 50 megabytes of data, but within that file there's like petabytes of data that get compressed. So there's like different compression techniques and things like that happen.
But heaven forbid you uncompress it.
So yeah. So anyway, the bomb, so the explosion of the bit bomb is when you extract the files, and then it just blows up your computer because your hard drive is 50 gigabytes large, and you just unpacked a 5 terabyte bit bomb. So
God forbid
I was curious.
You're gonna RAM lock immediately. It doesn't even matter your hard drive. Like your RAM.
Sounds kind of like what you did to your Git repository, John.
Oh, I've done a lot of terrible things to code. I swear there is a gremlin alive in my PC currently. like
Well,
it's not.
GAI ground zero is
Oh
right
my
there.
god. Yeah, today was horrible, but no, so I decided that I wanted to make something that, like, we've talked about AI worms before, right? So I was like, well, what happens, what would it take for us to create like a version of this AI worm, or like something that could be weaponized? So I was like, how small can I get a model that can touch or do something with command line? And pretty much like with a very simple Python package, you can do, computer interaction and command line, right? So it doesn't have to be very big. And then the model doesn't have to think, because it's kind of like just a playbook. So you just have to give it like enough information to actually run. And once the executables run, it just, spins up and in the background starts doing its thing. Well, I figured what's like the thing that nobody or average user is not going to notice at all. Well, it pretty much just opens the command line and starts opening your ports one by one until all your ports are open. And that's it.
It's pretty simple.
You should if you want to name it, you could call it like the doorman or something.
Oh man,
It's
it's so simple, but yet, like, if or like, I didn't have it call out. It's not doing anything like letting you know that it opened all the doors. But like, even if it just does it, and all your ports are open, and it does it in a manner that, like, you don't notice. I mean, the implications, especially in a business environment, are huge. Like, huge. And that's like what your SOC spends most of their operational time doing. They're just playing whack-a-mole with like ports. Like,
Yeah.
So I find it interesting that, like, we're getting to a point, especially with model distillation and reasoning. And I think 5.4 is actually a really good example of this. We now have a 5.4 model that outperforms O1 Mini in math, in reasoning, in 3 categories. Like, it is 3.4 billion in size. That is tiny from where we were, like, thinking. Like, I swear I get more annoyed with the naysayers on social media than I do anything else, solely because they've been proven wrong for about 3 years in a row at this point. And every year they come out and they say, oh, it can't, oh, we're running out of data. Oh my God, we can't train this. Oh, there's no such thing as, like, better than this. It can't happen. And, like, we're still exponentially accelerating. It is still, we have not done any this. There is no plateau. Everything's getting cheaper, like, massively. And the power that you're getting is increasing at the exact same opposite rate. Like, it is mind blowing. I mean, the size of the models that we can run on our endpoints now, like, this is a 5090, it's a monster. But I would have never thought we would have some of the models now, just even 5.4, like, doing O1 like capability that I can run on my 5090, and I can run multiple simultaneously. They're that small.
I'm excited about the token window sizes. Like, they're starting to get bigger.
128.
Like, yeah.
On a local model.
On a local 3 bill model.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's
so
impressive.
If you're out there vibe coding, you need a freaking gigantic window. So a lot of local models don't do it unless you're using it for, code completion or, little fill in the blanks. But the big thing, chuck my whole code base and have it chuck back diff. You need the online models until it's getting close. It's still a little small, I think, for some of the things we do, but it's around the corner.
Honestly,
I'll be excited. I'll be excited when the local models when we start building in like computer use, right, and caching and things like that to help them become more efficient. That'll be amazing, because then you can really use the premier products that are out there right now, like for auto coding, like
James.
Rue and Klein. But yeah, I mean, once local models become more capable and bigger token windows, then a lot of expense gets cut out of the auto coding. I mean, because it can get expensive. You can really rack up, especially like the more complex project you're working on. It can the bills can add up there.
I have an idea, James. I think we should start an open source project based off of some of these larger Olama models. And it is nothing but purpose built to get RuCoder to use an open source local model. And we will
actually
crowdsource this. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll open the training data up. We'll put it on Hugging Face.
The community.
And work with the community solely based off of localizing Ru use and performance for coding.
Yeah, that would be that's actually a great.
It's pretty
let's do
cool.
it. That'd be fun.
So I don't know if you guys saw the M3 chip can run DeepSeek R1 with
the 600,
71 bill. So, that's not currently possible.
Wow.
With our hardware in any kind of meaningful time, but commodity hardware can do that now.
404 gigabytes just to download that model.
Oh my!
That's how big that is. Yeah, 404
Holy
gigabytes
smokes.
just to download it. And then let's say you do download it. I wonder what, it's on Olama, which makes me really wonder what we would need to hardware-wise to run it. Because it's a 4-bit, which means it should run on local hardware.
You just need more RAM, right?
I don't know, actually. I think that's size-wise. You know what? I'm opening up an experiment this weekend and play around with this. Somebody ran it on YouTube, but I think they were using multiple. Yeah, we have a guest.
We have a surprise.
We do introductions, Randy?
Guest.
Oh yes. So we created a spare James in my house.
Look at his head. It's a floating.
His big brother's doing something with mom, so I am on double duty. Love 2025, year of outcomes and bringing new things into the world.
I'm
with you.
Yep.
I had mine on a meeting the other day. Joint was a guest visitor on the meeting.
Yeah, it's a big motivating factor of diving in deep with AI, right? Because it's so crazy, that curve. Wherever it does end up, these kids got to deal with it, and it's going to be a wild new world by the time they actually have to get jobs. Yeah, right. He agrees.
So philosophical debate of some sort. Where does model distillation and improvement end? Because I'm going to throw something in the chat for you guys. But if you look at this chart, you absolutely know that 5.4 is a distillate. It's pretty obvious. But we have these jumps, and right after we have a jump, right, we get another model, and it's back and forth at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody's publicly saying it, but I think everybody behind the scenes knows that everybody is either directly doing model distillation or they're vicariously doing model distillation in some way, shape, or form. And that's through whether they're using those models and then taking the data, right? Or whether they're monitoring API calls, or whether they're actually purposely doing distillation or building systems to do it. When you look at this curve and you look at the models that are on there, a couple stick out, like GPT-4o and Claude Sonnet, right? Those are the ones that people know about. You have 4o Mini that's right there. And you see this sort of curve up and then this big jump with especially Gemini Pro and then 5.4. And then I think 5.4 is probably the one I'm looking at specifically on Olama, 16 token continuity or context link, at 14 bill, runs locally, but it's outperforming everything, including big models, flagship models of OpenAI in certain tasks. Where does that curve stop? Does it stop? Does synthetic data become problematic? Do we stop seeing or plateau at some point?
I worry about overfitting. I think all this stuff is, training on the test that if everything is synthetic data and everything is being used, it's what's the holdout set that represents truth? So at some point,
But-
this might be less meaningful of a metric versus, again, like how useful are the models to actually achieve the outcomes?
So I'm gonna play counter to that, because my theory is this: can you physically see down to like micron level
With a tool.
with a tool?
With a tool.
Okay, so but how did someone know that down to micron level existed? Theory, right? So if we consider synthetic data theory, meaning we can start to shape data or a data reality that is outside of our knowledge, are we starting to get to a place, and this is a dangerous like tightrope that we're balancing on here, but like do we start to stretch what has been limited by human imagination and current AI implementation and the internet's repository of data, and start moving into true innovation or the ability for AI to actually extrapolate past things that have only been shown it? Because I can tell you right now, models are easier to innovate with than they've ever been.
We have to step back and say, what is model distillation? And it's really a teaching training activity, right? So to me, the philosophical answer to the question is, when does distillation ends? It ends when teaching ends. And so if right now we're defining teaching as just the available data that's out there, then it ends when we've expunged all that data that we have to teach models. But like, I think where you're going, John, is like, well, we can create new data and we can create.
Correct.
So to me, the question is like, what are we teaching? How much do we have to teach? Why are we teaching them? So, you know, as long as we have goals and we have imagination and we're innovating, I don't think model distillation does end, because we're constantly teaching and it's learning.
So that's kind of where my head's at. But my biggest, I guess, kind of thing with a lot of the models lately have been, you can innovate easier. Like where it used to be very like you had to find, remember, James, when we discovered there's key terms the models just do better with. Like there's ones where if you find that right term, like the model just rips and it's accurate and it's exactly what you want. But if you use the wrong term, it totally screws you and it goes down a completely different route. And it literally was like some of those discoveries that 3.5 turbo were definitely super transparent. And now we're getting into a place where, especially with the reasoning models, where terminology isn't as important. It's more of like mental plasticity and how you sort of help it think about the two concepts that you're trying to bring together. And what's interesting about where we're headed is I can take completely disparate technology that has never been brought together before because nobody has done it or nobody cared to do it. And I can bring that concept together conversationally and have the AI generate a data set like it's factual, right? Like it's something that exists in the world today, and then train a model on it. Now, does that make that information factual? Well, no, it doesn't, until that AI is now coding something that never like Randy, I think of the nanites like concept, like that is it's a strange way to do things, because it causes you a ton of calls, right? From an efficiency standpoint and like call perspective, it's opposite of what you want to do, but it's extremely efficient because it isolates data and it gives the model a job and a goal, and it keeps it very tightly controlled down to such a finite level that because they share collective thought, the nanites are now a very, very powerful thing. But they are only powerful because the shared thought and the API calls that are actually running models are separated and they work differently.
From whiskey pours to AI wars, thanks for tuning in. Stay curious, stay questioning, and we'll catch you in the next episode.